Hello, everyone. This is Jordan. Welcome back to the Daily Gold YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me for this edition of Macro Mondays. This video is being recorded in the evening of Sunday, July 20th, 2025, but you're hearing this on Monday, the 21st of July. In precious metals, we have seen some important breakouts this year as well as last year. But my focus today is discussing what are the most important breakouts that are ahead of us, that are still in the future, that are going to set the stage for another leg higher in precious metals. Without further ado, let me get to that. I'm going to start off by discussing what I think are the three most important breakouts so far in this new secular bull market in precious metals. And in this chart, we see two of them. Here is gold. This is a monthly chart, by the way, through June, so it doesn't have the last couple weeks. So gold here, monthly bar chart. This is gold against the 60-40 portfolio. If you follow our channel, you are familiar with the 60-40 portfolio by now. It's a portfolio of 60% stocks and 40% bonds. So the classic investment portfolio. And we can see here that gold breaking out against the 60-40 as it did here in 1971, 72, and then in the early 2000s, set the stage or really confirmed new secular bull markets in not only gold but precious metals, as that indicates that capital is, after the breakout, rapidly moving away from conventional investments and into gold. And that happened again in March of this year, powered by gold breaking out against the stock market, breaking out of a 4.5-year range. But gold breaking out against the 60-40 portfolio, again here, this was a 10-year base. So this is an extremely significant breakout. Now, the market has pulled back. It pulled back a little bit in June. It's pulling back a little bit more. No problem with that. Gold in real terms, up until a couple months ago, I mean, it shot up for a couple months. So it's going to digest. It's going to rest for at least a couple months, maybe a couple more months. But this was a very, very significant breakout, as I've talked about in numerous videos. And of course, this was as well. The gold breaking out against the 60-40 was preceded by this breakout here, breaking out of this beautiful textbook, super bullish 13-year cup and handle pattern. And again, this breakout is setting the stage for what's to come well into the 2030s. And this breakout here gives us confirmation. So to me, these are really the two most significant breakouts that we've had so far in precious metals, not only gold, but precious metals as a whole. And so these breakouts obviously set the stage for what's to come over the next decade. Now, there's one more breakout, which I think is also extremely significant, and that's gold breaking out against the CPI, or the inflation-adjusted gold price. Again, this is monthly data here, and gold 2-3 months ago, whenever it was, broke out of a 45-year-long base against the CPI, and since then it's moved higher. So this strength in real terms is going to feed down to the gold stocks. We've already seen it. Now, this is the Barron's Gold Mining Index, which of course goes back to 1936 or 7. I have some data that I added onto that with the help of Nick Laird. It was the best site for gold charts on the net. And you could even go back to the 20s and see the relationship, or the 30s, I should say, and you can see the relationship between gold against the CPI and gold stocks. And you can look at here, the patterns of the two are very similar. Since 2011, you can see, and not identical, but fairly similar. And so the reason is gold stocks move based on the margins. Performance of gold stocks essentially equals gold minus costs, or gold divided by costs. And that's what we have here. CPI is a proxy for costs. So this works really well as an indicator for the gold stocks. So to me, this is the third significant breakout that we've seen. Okay, so enough about the past. Let's look into the future and talk about a couple of important breakouts that are ahead of us and that are going to signal the next phase in this new secular bull market in precious metals. And so first is silver against the 60-40. and also silver against the stock market at the same time. And I would talk about silver against the 60/40 by itself, but remember, this is 60% of this ratio. And this is important because this is trading at about a 4-year long base, and this is getting really close to breaking out. Look at where it is right now. Numerous tests right here. So at some point, this is going to pop like that, and that should push silver against the 60/40 up to this significant resistance here, which even back here, this is 11-year long resistance, silver against the 60/40. Now, it has broken out here of I believe this is a 5-year long base. And so it can pull back here and do a retest before moving higher, but we're probably going to need to see this baby break out here to help this get back here. And so eventually this will rally up to here and test this 11-year long resistance. And so when silver can break this resistance against the 60/40 portfolio, that is going to give it the fuel to break $50. Not only go to $50 an ounce, but break that $50 an ounce level. Because a huge breakout here, that's going to signal a really significant, a massive move of capital out of stocks and bonds and into silver. And so remember, this here is significant because this is 60% of this. So this, we talked about gold breaking out against the 60/40 last year and earlier this year, and then it happened. It's been a huge deal. This is the next deal, silver against the 60/40. And again, this baby has got to break out past this 11-year long resistance, or you're not going to see silver break 50. One has to happen, and then the other will happen. Okay, next, it's gold stocks against the 60/40 portfolio. So here we have GDX against the 60/40 portfolio, and this looks fairly similar to silver against the 60/40, although the base, you can actually start it here at the end of 2013. So this resistance, this is a 12-year long resistance pattern. So it did rally up here, had a sharp pullback, rallied up here, not quite to resistance, now it's fading. So this could potentially come back and do a retest of this level before bouncing back up like that. So a lot of money has come into gold stocks, and that's this move right here. GDX against the 60/40. But for that next big move, you're going to need to see this break above this resistance. Because if this just dribbles like this, then the gold stock indices as a whole, they're not going to do much. So very similar to silver against the 60/40. Okay, now one more. And I mean, it's really those two which are the most significant, but obviously it's silver and $50. I didn't adjust this chart, so this is live editing here, but we can see this is a silver chart going back right here. This is 170 years. And look how significant this beautiful base is at $50. I've said the breakout in gold in 1972, that was the biggest breakout of all time. This breakout will be the second biggest breakout of all time, but the biggest breakout since 1972, biggest breakout in over 50 years. So we've had significant breakouts in precious metals already. They've been limited to gold, a little bit in the gold stocks, but the reality is this is what is to come. Two of these breakouts are silver. One of them is the gold stocks. Gold stocks breaking out against the 60/40, silver breaking out against the 60/40, and then after that happens, silver will break out past $50 an ounce for the second biggest breakout of all time in capital markets. I won't offer any predictions when they'll happen, but maybe you'd like to let me know. Tell me what you think. Leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you had a great weekend and hope you have an even better week ahead. I'll talk to you guys again in the next video.